Welcome to Cambridge House Live. I'm Vanessa Collette at the World Resource Investment Conference. Joining me today is Scott Drever, President and CEO of Crest Mines. Welcome, Scott. Great to have you here with us.
Thanks, Vanessa. It's good to be here.
Scott, you have been running Crest for over a decade now, and in that time taken the company all the way from early stage exploration into production. What would you tell a brand new investor looking at the company today?
I think I'd tell them, first of all, to look at our bottom line, because even at these metal prices, we're making excellent money. And that was part of the plan, to get the cash flow early, and we were able to do that.
And what do you have planned with the company in the next 12 months?
The company, obviously, we really have three principal assets. Number one is our people. Number two, our Santa Elena mine, which is the source of our cash flow and our production of silver and gold. And we have the La Jolla project that's in the background for development. Right now, we're producing about 2.3 million ounces of silver equivalent, and we're in the midst of a capital expansion program that will take that production rate up to about 3.5 million to 4 million ounces of silver equivalent in the next 12 to 16 months.
Is that with the construction of the new mill?
That's correct, yes. We're currently an open pit heap leach operation, very, very profitable. Our cash costs are about just under $8 an ounce of silver equivalent. And so we're transitioning from that open pit heap leach to a more conventional underground milling situation.
And does going underground change your cash costs per ounce?
It will take them up some, but our deposit is quite substantial in terms of widths and grades. And so although there's normally an increase in the cost for underground, ours are fairly minimal. I think we go up by about 20 or 30% over the cost that I mentioned earlier. So it's a little bit, but certainly manageable.
How is construction on the new mill coming along?
It's going very well. We're probably 80% committed on all the large equipment. We've got firm contracts, firm bids, we've paid deposits, and that part of it's starting to be delivered. We've finished most of the dirt work. The concrete is almost all in place, and we're starting on the superstructure of the buildings and the tanks and facilities.
So with production doubled, what are your plans with the surplus cash flow?
Well, we have to get there, and we should be there at that run rate of 3,000 tons a day by the end of next year. So we'll see how that all turns out. The cash flow will certainly in part go to additional capital expansion and exploration, acquisitions, all of those things that have made us as successful as we've been, I think.
You mentioned La Jolla earlier. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? I saw you had some news today talking about the options, so maybe you can share a little bit more about La Jolla.
Yeah, La Jolla is the second really major project that we've looked at in Mexico since we acquired Santa Elena in 2005. And it's one of those things that a lot of people have looked at, and we looked at it a little differently. And our first two drill programs have come up with a resource of just about 200 million ounces of silver equivalent. So it's a huge deposit. We have some more work to do on it. We're doing a PEA, a preliminary economic assessment, this year that'll tell us all about the capital costs and operating costs, at least on a preliminary basis. And so we'll get through that by the end of this year, and we'll move on to feasibility study and look at that as probably our second leg up in terms of a mining project or a mining operation.
How do you control costs at Crest?
With an iron fist. Our guys are really good. They know what they're doing, but we run really tight budgets, and we review those budgets on a weekly and monthly basis, both on the CapEx side and on the operational side. And we identify the red flags where things are getting out of the boundaries, if you will. We identify those real early and bring pressure on them to get them back in line.
With the recent pullback in the silver price, do you still see silver retesting former highs?
Absolutely, yeah. And you know, I'm not that big a silver bull, but I think on both gold and silver, they've been in an uptrend for many years. This volatility hasn't broken the trend as far as I'm concerned. And I think, you know, this most recent dip, we'll see that correct by the end of the year. And then I'm looking forward to both gold and silver meeting new highs in the subsequent years.
Do the recent gold and silver pullbacks provide new opportunities for Silver Crest?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're looking at a number of things that have come up simply because you know, people have nowhere to go with them in terms of trying to carry them forward. There's no cash available generally for the grassroots or brownfields types of projects that are prolific in Mexico. So we're seeing a lot of things, and we're very good at identifying opportunities that other people have passed over. And so it all comes together to give us a lot of opportunity in the next couple of years.
Moving along to CSR, can you tell us a little bit about your engagement with the local communities near the deposits?
The CSR is probably the most important part of the mining business these days. It used to be technical things, you know, CapEx, construction costs, but obviously the political arena and the more local community relations are very, very important. And we've taken steps from the outset to deal with those kinds of things. We've recently brought on staff that do nothing but monitor and work with the local people to identify issues or problems and deal with them before they become of a serious nature. So we're very cognizant of the need to do that, and both at Santa Elena, and we've started already at La Jolla. Even though it is early stage, we've started working with the local people to make sure that the information they receive is factual, and they know that they can come to us and voice their concerns.
A lot of people are saying that 2013 is looking a lot like 2009, which was the year in which you were able to secure your financing. Do you think that streaming is the new debt for companies?
I mean, that's certainly an alternative, and streaming has its pros and cons. We did a gold stream at Santa Elena, and it was absolutely essential at the time, but in retrospect, it was a tough deal. So I think people it'll be there and available for them depending on their circumstances. Personally, I would like to be in a position to do something other than streaming.
Do you see Mexico remaining a favorable environment to miners?
Well, it certainly has the history. You know, they've been mining in Mexico for 400 or 500 years probably. I've worked all over the world, and I found it to be one of the most favorable jurisdictions I've ever been in. From a regulatory point of view, from an approval point of view, it's better than Canada, the US, or many countries I could name. So I'm hoping that they keep that pro-mining atmosphere or environment alive in Mexico, because to me and our guys, we look at Mexico as probably Nevada 40 years ago. There's just so much that hasn't been worked over properly, and it's got a huge future as long as they can keep the taxation and the permitting environments in the reasonable areas.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Scott. It was a pleasure having you here. I hope that you enjoy the conference, and we look forward to having you back again soon.
Super. Thanks very much, Vanessa.